The following is an essay written by a 14-year-old girl for her English class at school. The essay was 4 handwritten pages long and very neatly written. This essay clearly demonstrates what judges are actually doing to the children of divorce, which clearly contradicts the judge's responsibility of protecting the best interests of the child. As I read this essay to you, please ask yourself, why is this father being deprived by the court of visitation with his daughter? Why is this child being deprived by the court of a father? Why doesn't this father have custody of his daughter? In the essay, the child does not mention her mother. I wonder why. In the essay, the child mentions she ran away to her father's house. According to the father, the judge made a threat to his daughter. The judge told her if she ran away again to her father's house, her father would go to jail. This is exactly what happens in court to children of divorce that want to live and be with their fathers. This also demonstrates how the court process affects children of divorce and that the court is supposed to be helping. The child's essay. Dada. Now that's the first word of many young children. At least it was mine. Not being able to see or talk to my dad is the worst thing that has and will ever happen to me. You imagine it. This all started about 4 or 3 years ago when my parents got a divorce. Everything used to be perfect, and since the separation, everything went haywire. I now had a lawyer, saw counselors, went to court to talk to a judge, saw my dad and brothers rarely, and didn't feel like a normal kid anymore. My father really listens to me, and none of my hundreds of lawyers or counselors do, even though they are supposed to help me get through my parents' separation. My parents have been divorced since I was in 5th grade, and it is still being worked out by the court. Since then, I haven't really had a voice of what I've asked. There hasn't been any drastic changes, even though I ran away to my dad's house twice to really make a point. Still, no one listened to me because I think that no one really cared. The divorce was between my father and mother, not between my dad and I. Children shouldn't be pulled apart to be on either side of their parent. What a teenager says should be what everyone wants to hear, since they really know what they want and need. From going to lawyer and counselor to counselor, usually I just sit there and don't say a word, because from all of the other times when I spoke out and expressed myself, I would just get dumped on. I wish I could just tell my dad how I feel, since I trust him. From going to different counselors and lawyers, I've learned not to trust them, since they never helped me. One of my counselors did yell at me before who knows what, and she really put me down by her words, and I started crying. I used to always cry when I went to see my counselors, judges, and lawyers, because all they would do was yell at me for asking them if I could see my dad. I hate it when no one listens to me and don't try to help me. I want and need my dad, and so does any other child. When I go to see my dad, he helps me get through the impossible. He is a great encourager and listens. My dad is a great influence on my life, and when I used to see him, he would encourage me every second of the day. One day, when I had a visit with my dad, I was really upset about something, and he helped me get through it. By the end of the visit, I was my normal self. My dad has taught me to speak out and weigh what's on my mind. My father always tells me to think positive no matter what. He and my brothers are the only people who have helped me get through all of this. My dad is the only one who really makes me feel good inside, and he tries to make my life the best it can be. For the future, my dream is to become a surgeon, and my dad is behind me 100% of the way. My dad always looks after me and is always there for me. I haven't seen my father in over 2 months, and it has been the worst without him. Right after my parents got divorced, I saw my dad every other weekend at his house. Then I stopped seeing him, and then we had supervised visits. These visits didn't last too long, and when they ended, I didn't see my dad for quite an extended period of time. Then finally, we had visits again, once a week at the park. Now the visits have ended and have been for over 2 months. When I did see my dad, I would also see my older brothers, Jim and Paul, because they lived with my dad. I liked seeing my dad at his house because we could sleep over and it was normal. Then when we had supervised visits, people would be listening, watching, writing down everything you said and did. Whenever and wherever I saw my dad, it was fine, as long as I got to see him. Even if I just saw my dad for a few minutes, it would mean so much to me because not seeing him at all really stinks. My dad has been and will always be there for me, especially now, because I know he's always trying to make a better tomorrow for us. When I ran away to my dad's house, he had boxes and boxes of divorce papers. My dad has put his life into this divorce, and I know he's really trying to make things better. My dad is fun to be around all the time, and when I'm in a down mood, he makes me feel happy. When I used to have supervised visits with my father, we always played different games and activities. Sometimes we would catch little baby fish in the stream and get all wet from splashing each other. Other times we would play frisbee, and I would always go near my dad so I could intercept his passes and to see how high I could jump. We would also play tag, write with chalk, or play basketball. Besides playing games and having fun, my dad would always make or buy delicious dinner. My dad knows I love fudge, so he would bring my Aunt Marcia's fudge once in a while for dessert. My father would also make chili and sloppy joes, which are 2 of my favorite foods. Other times my dad would bring pizza, wings, salad, and more. Overall, I want and need my father in my life every day. I pray to God all the time to see my father. When I get older, I want to own a very big house so my whole family can live with me and be together. This way my family won't be broken like it is right now. What I'm trying to say is that I need to see my dad. He needs to be part of my life. I love my dad. After that, this is the psychologist's response to the child's essay.